Hi everyone, my name is Egypt Worthy and welcome to my older adult oral video presentation. Very excited to talk about my interviewee, Dr. A, as well as talk more about the developmental stage that I chose from Erickson. So the developmental stage that I chose was middle adulthood. And this is something that Dr. A really talked about during our interview, was just like her life experiences from her 40s all the way up until where she's at right now currently in her life. And during this stage, folks are really looking at how they can best support those around them within their family or within their community, and how they can use their own professional background to support them in achieving their own accomplishments. With that being said, there are some challenges during this stage. So some of the challenges could be, it could be health related. It could be related to romantic relationships. Maybe the person got a divorce during this time in their life. Maybe they might have lost their spouse or partner during this time of their life, or maybe there have been some challenges with employment. Overall, during this time period, the person or persons are really just focusing on themselves and what goals they want to continue to achieve, or the goals that they have already achieved. How can they best support those around them? And so during my interview with Dr. A, I really got a chance to really talk about her family relationships as well as her community relationships. And I really wanted to really hone on talking about generativity and how those experiences were able to get Dr. A to the stage where she's at right now. And so currently, Dr. A has two daughters. One is a lawyer, one is in med school right now to be a doctor. And where Dr. A is at right now in her life, she really wants to support her daughters as much as possible to achieve their own goals. Dr. A stated during our interview, she's very much like set where she's at right now in life, and she really wants to focus on her family and really focus on how she can best create change within her community. And so her daughter, who is a lawyer, really wants to work with mass incarceration, and her daughter, who's in medical school, really wants to provide under-resourced communities with proper nutrition and just giving them the resources that they need on how to best take care of themselves and make sure they have productive, healthy lives moving forward. As well as Dr. A wants to use her own resources that she's been able to gain being a sixth, seventh, eighth grade science teacher. Education is very important, very, very, very important to Dr. A. During our interview, she said that education is one of the ways to freedom. And for her, education is very much essential. However, with her daughters, she really wants to instill in them the values and morals that her family was able to give to her. And so, with that being said, Dr. A has been very optimistic. She's very much leading with how can I use my accomplishments and all the things that I've been able to experience in my life to best support those around me so they could be the best versions of themselves. Went a little ahead there. So, as far as with middle adulthood, some of the accomplishments that Dr. A has been able to achieve, from my perspective, is being a mother and just having two amazing daughters. This is something that she really talked about a lot during the interview. It's just like how she can best support her daughters and how she can best, um, help them achieve all the things that they want to achieve in life. As far as being an educator, she takes a lot of pride in education based off of the things that she experienced in her life, her upbringing as a child, and wanting to use that to best support Black and Brown kids in under resourced communities. I put health here as well because Dr. A really talked about how she's really working to take care of herself, really making sure that she's going to doctor's appointments, really making sure that she's eating the right foods and getting enough exercise so that way she's able to be present for her daughters as well as be present for her community to create that change. As far as challenges, Dr. A was married years ago, and she ended up getting a divorce a little bit right after her daughters were born. She said that she did get help from family, but um, I can imagine that even with that help, there still were challenges, especially with that time period and just all the things that she wanted to achieve for herself. As well as Dr. A did move to the East Coast during this time period of her life. She's originally from California. She moved to New York in 2012, and then she just recently moved to Philadelphia. So during the interview, we talked about what that transition was like, just coming from the the West Coast and moving to the East Coast and what that was like for her. And something that I found very interesting was her talking about how in California is very multicultural, and how when moving to the East Coast, she saw that there were a lot more Black people present, as well as Hispanic communities as well. Um, so I thought that was very interesting. And so here we are at the psychosocial crisis resolution portion of this presentation. Uh, as you can see, I have a meme up here that's explaining it very much so. Generativity versus stagnation. I love memes, I love GIFs, and I think this was something that really described these two terms to the core. And so generativity is really focusing on others, working with others, how we can best support others to create change in our community. Um, Whereas stagnation is more so focusing on ourselves. It's the opposite of generativity. So that's how I'm able to really remember and understand these two terms. But stagnation, again, is really focusing on ourselves and really not looking to create too much change, really not looking to be as productive as when we're in generativity, um, lacking purpose, lacking interactions with others. So you're really very much like, to yourself. Whereas with generativity, you're very much like we see this older guy right here. He's very much happy, living his best life. How can I best work with others? How can I best work with my peers, my community, my family to create change? Um, and so that's my very brief, straight to the point definition of generativity versus stagnation. And so we are at the last portion of the first part of this presentation. Uh, Second link will take you to the second part, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you and continue on this journey.